Greetings from Storybrooke. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm DeSimone.
And
Sorry.
You want to start again?
No,
no, we haven't done this in a while.
No,
Let's restart.
No, because I just need to move my mic then.
Okay, go ahead and move your mic, and then we'll restart. Sorry, guys. 1 second.
Bear with me. I'm just gonna hold it.
No, I don't think that'll be.
I just want to make silly faces.
You know, you can hear that. You can hear that on the stream. You can hear it on the stream.
Not anymore.
We're live. Quick, get it back in there.
Oh,
get it back in there. Get it back in there. We're live. Video's going. Ah. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna go again. Greetings from Storybrooke. I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm DeSimone.
And this is A Better Plan. The vilest of creatures, those pious little fleas. Let's eliminate this infestation. We also talk about ABC's hit series Once Upon a Time. How you doing, Anne-Marie?
I'm ridiculous. How are you?
Great, great. And, if people don't know, we usually record these Monday night at 8:30 p.m. live on Google+. You can look at our social media accounts for links on the night. Mm-hmm. But sometimes we have a false start.
We do.
And it's tonight, a lot of fun.
When Anne-Marie tries to be over the graphic to make her hello.
And she was like holding the mic up like she
I was making you do this.
She was a darn rap star or something like that.
I am a rap star.
Rap star. And our guest this week is thank you for bearing with us through the false start, is Blair Canfield. How you doing, Blair?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you guys?
We're good.
Excellent.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate the invite.
Oh, and we were talking a little bit before the show got started and everything. I guess you came to us. You posted looking for a in general podcast or a Once Upon a Time podcast in the Tadpole group over on Facebook, Scott Johnson's podcasting group, and someone recommended this one to you. So you're a more recent listener, which is fun.
Yeah, it's only probably been like 4 or 5 episodes that I've been listening to you guys. But as soon as you guys were like, "Hey, there's guests," I'm like, man. I want to be a guest. I want to feel important. So I was like, yeah, let's try this out.
And you are important, sir. You are important.
Oh, thank you.
I will warn you, about 10 episodes into our podcast, you will hate us, but then around 15 it comes back around again, so it'll be okay.
You'll just start screaming at your iPod.
You're like realizing, you're like, they have some weird things, but, and then you get over it, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect.
And that's all the magical spell we put on every episode of the podcast that does that.
Fairy dust.
Right.
Of magical spells. There was one being enacted this week, so why don't we go ahead and do the rhyming episode summary and we'll get started talking about it.
Okay. Rumple is tired of doing what's right as the shards of glass from the curse cloud take flight. Elsa and Emma play with magical devices that find and protect and melt all the ices. The hat is the thing, and a curse that Hook carries. He's coerced into capturing those bothersome fairies. If you have loved ones, better hide them all. Tragic is coming soon after the fall.
Fall! What'd you think, Anne-Marie?
I'm sorry, of the episode of your fall.
My fall!
Not so much.
The
episode, however, I kind of liked it.
Oh, I thought you were saying you didn't like the episode, but you liked my fall.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
My fall! Okay, so you liked the episode and hated my fall, or hated my fall and liked the episode? Which is it?
Episode, yay, you know.
And, Blair, I apologize. I'm probably going to call you Blake like 30 times. I'm not sure why. But what did you think of the episode overall? And, of course, of my fall?
Okay, so I've said this before. I'm like a super casual watcher. So every time that someone says, oh, this, and that, I had a problem with this, I'm like, oh, man, I thought it was good. So I always kind of think every episode is good. But this one, I actually, because of listening to you guys, now I'm like being all critical. I found some things I liked, and I found some things I didn't like, but for the most part, I'd say I really liked it. So,
yay!
Yeah, and just as a rough summary for me too, since wait a second, Blair.
Wait.
What about the fall?
Oh yeah.
The fall is very on key. I thought it was great. I think you should continue with your falls.
Yeah, that is C sharp minor. So.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
That's not a real thing. No, just basic summary, and I said this on Twitter last night. Obviously, we'll be expanding on it. In this first part, we'll definitely will. But I really loved 40% of the episode. The rest was a little weak for me. But the 40% I loved.
that you liked.
I loved him. I thought was some of the best stuff
much.
the series has ever done with these
now
characters.
The other 60%, where would you put it?
I'd put it...
Like here?
I'd send it to Oz.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you go there? I
did. I had to go
Can we at least
down
send
the
it
Yellow
to
Brick
Neverland?
Road.
Let's send it to Neverland.
But I like Neverland.
Okay.
I really
you liked Oz,
Neverland.
too. You like the stuff in Oz.
I definitely did like this.
So don't send it to Oz. Anyway,
the 40%. That's the important part, right? The 40% I like. Hook and Rumple's whole interaction, the fight and the cycle of violence and everything, I thought was great. Like, I know a lot of people I saw, particularly I think Lauren Galloway on Twitter was saying that she wasn't sure what Rumple's deal was or why he was leaning so hard into being evil again. And this episode really, as far as that's concerned, was a revelation to me. First of all, I just definitely have to say that the Rumpelstiltskin character is this show to me.
Yes.
Like, more so than Emma, more so than the Charmings, Rumpelstiltskin really is this show to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting that he chose to... Well, I mean, obviously there were circumstances that led him to choose Hook, but he's kind of reveling in being able to control Hook.
Yeah.
And I think it's really comes down to a matter of like sort of like a cycle of violence kind of thing, because I think he's still burned and kind of like traumatized by Zelena controlling him for so long.
Oh, completely.
Last season. And so I think the second this opportunity to take Hook's heart and control him and everything came along, not only because of their history, but because he wanted to have that power over somebody, he was more than willing to kind of jump in there, take the heart, and have fun with it. He feels powerless, so he wants to have control over everything, over the hat, over the Snow Queen's machinations, everything. And once he opens up his mind to the idea of wanting to control that or being able to control that, all that old Dark One gunk comes flying out. He's fallen back into his old ways, and I think it's definitely a bit to do with Neil dying too. I'm sure that probably makes his whole mission seem a little meaningless.
Yeah.
At times.
It does, because Neil was his whole reason for everything.
Yeah, like what was it, like 300 years or something?
Something like that. Sorry.
Yeah, but 300 years just toiling away trying to get back to Neil, and then he dies. So I'm sure that has a bit.
He sacrificed himself.
He did, but I'm saying he regardless of whether he sacrificed himself or not, he died.
True.
And I think that trauma combined with the whole cycle of violence thing and wanting to be in control again after not being in control with Zelena and everything, when this hat pops up into his hands, it just the temptation, if it had come before Neil died, I don't think he would have necessarily taken it. I think all of this stuff combined with him or the hat falling into his lap caused him to completely go back over into old Dark One ways.
Yeah.
What do you think, Emery?
I feel like he's taken a very sharp turn at points, especially this half season. It's just the mean is coming, but it's not that old, like the old mean Dark One. A different aspect to it.
Yeah.
At least then, like we said, he was doing stuff out of love for Neil. Where is his love for Belle? Where is his love that he obviously has for what's his face, Henry? Because he wants to save Henry.
Well, that's what I was gonna say later in the notes. I'm and it came across more when whoever asked the question. I'm super confused by both his motives and by the Snow Queen's motives. I mean, we know, like, end game wise, he wants to get rid of the dagger, she wants to have her sisters. But at the same respect, I'm like, why do you want to get rid of your dagger? What do you plan on doing after you get rid of your dagger? What do you plan on doing after you have your sisters? And so I'm confused because why does he want to all of a sudden save his grandson? Do you know? I feel like the whole time there's always been this, like, it's only me, and then I kind of like Belle, so Belle's going to come with me and do this. But then now it's like, okay, it's me, Belle, and then I'm taking the grandson with me,
Yeah, I think, whatever he wants to do once he gets free of the dagger and gets out in the world, it ties back to the Snow Queen's line, what does every villain want? It all. So I think he's just going to be viciously going after power. And I actually think that the Henry thing, the saving Henry, isn't about saving his grandson.
No.
I think it's about saving the heart of the truest believer for his own purposes.
Because it's powerful.
Yeah, I think that's why he kind of doubled back around and wanted
to save him.
Yeah, wanted to save Henry after all. And Emery, what you were saying, like I don't know why, but if you're watching the video, you'll see this. If not, just go look at the artwork for this week's episode of the podcast, and you'll see this face of Rumple. I used this as the artwork for the podcast this week, just because I thought
a creepy picture.
Well,
he looks like a lizard.
The second I saw this expression, this is an expression that he has towards the blue fairy in Granny's when he comes to get Belle. Like, just completely personified for me how the character's turned. It's like he looks a little evil, a little malevolent, trying to appear kind, and hating himself for all of it. You know, like you can see it in his eyes and his whole facial expression. Great expressions there from Robert Carlyle. Let's see.
From the chat room, just sort of going with it. Maddie Candia, sorry, I think that was how you pronounce it. She says, "Yeah, I like the dark one is different from before because now he's more normal but still powerful."
And tying into that, something that I really loved in this episode was when Hook's like looking to see the ice wall growing out in the ocean, and then Mr. Gold just pops up behind him like old school Rumple used to do.
Yeah,
like just randomly appear there. I really loved that, and I also really loved in that scene when Rumple mentions somebody who's pious, Hook immediately thinks fairies. Like, of course.
Right.
People are also pointing out that he wants Henry because he's all he has left of Neil.
I can definitely see that.
Makes
sense. I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that because he's leaned so hard into selfish Rumple mode again, that the only reason he would want Henry would be for, bad.
I'm sure it's all for bad things, but we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though he's the dark one. Yeah. This is why he's saving him.
Speaking of bad things, you thought the Knave's appearance in this episode was
waste of my Knave.
Bad.
It was a very big waste of my Knave. Okay, let's start with number one. Who gives the Knave a child to protect?
Yeah, that seems like.
Who gives him a child?
Where's Friar Tuck? Where's Little John?
Little John's probably still recovering from being a monkey. But I'm sorry, I'm not giving that adorable child who he was teaching the parts of an arrow. Precious little curls. But I think they're just obligated to have him make a certain number of appearances this season, even if they're just one-liners, one or two lines, because we know he's going to be more important the second half. Also, are we there yet?
Well, they did bring him on as a series regular, which does indicate like a certain number of episodes appearing. So that makes total sense. The reason being is because if an actor is signed on as a series regular, they literally can't really sign on for any other projects when that show's in production because they might be needed anytime. So
they wanted to save them for the show.
So they got a guaranteed number of episodes so they get paid.
Gotcha.
I have a question about because I can't remember Wonderland. See, this is where my wife comes in handy. The queen that the Knave and him, or the Knave and her, was she still magical by the time that series ended? Did she still have magic?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think this was a shower thought? Do you think that it's possible that the Knave has shown up in Storybrooke because she may or may not be in the hat?
Oh my God!
Oh wow! You just broke it, man. Like
I shower thoughts are great, but that's what I was thinking. Because I'm like, why in the heck is he here? Why is he hanging around? Maybe she's in the hat.
Blair, can you do the rest of the show from your shower?
No. Yeah, actually, yes, I can.
That was amazing. I had goosebumps. It was so good.
Definitely. Actually, you know what? That's a good a time as any. My last point here, just to
jump back
to other people being in the hat thing. My big theory that I was going to save for the end of the discussion, but we're not going to now because
I blew it.
You blew it open.
But where did I put it? I had the phrasing down. No, but I think the mid-season finale is that everybody in the hat is going to be released from the hat, and we've been seeing a lot of announcements. We won't get into too many spoilers, but various villains and villainesses mainly being cast for next half season, and I think this mid-season finale is going to be everybody being let out of the hat into Storybrooke, maybe even including Anna.
See, this is going to be the fun part, is one's Anna and one's Anna.
Right.
Well, hopefully they won't be on the show at the same time, I hope.
You know they will.
But, dude, like, high five.
Yeah,
Internet
virtual
high five.
high fives. Boom.
Okay.
I don't even know if I can think. Okay. Well, good. It's your point.
Yes. You didn't... I think we can just end the episode now. I think you solved the whole season.
Anna's coming back.
But no, you wanted to, you had some concerns about how Robin and everybody were living, really.
Living the
Oh, it's like, I don't get it, right? So Storybrooke is supposed to be this big giant place where there's tons of houses and everything, but why do Robin Hood and his merry men and the knave still choose on staying in the forest in tents with a fire? I mean, I know it like might be their thing, but the Charmings had a castle, but they're chilling in a loft. Like, you know, I just like...
Yes.
Well, my thinking is, and this might come from the fact that I well, not grew up, but like spent most of my teenage years and most of my college years in West Virginia, and I knew a lot of hunters and stuff like that, and those type of guys,
they like it there.
If they could live out 24/7 and it still be considered socially acceptable, then they would totally do it. They would totally do it. Like. Nope. Like, once you become that kind of guy, that outdoorsy kind of guy, it's hard to go back. It's hard.
Says the man with the grizzly beard.
Sweater vest.
Well, and then my other point was, when you're looking at the scene after Elsa breaks through the boulders and they go out onto the beach, they're all sitting around and they're talking, but in the background, there's like people chilling on the beach hanging out. And I'm not sure if that was like some filming, you know, they messed that up in filming, or if that was actually supposed to be there. But I'm like, there's a curse coming, right? Like, it's a big thing in the sky, shattering glass falling down. Like, why are you hanging out on the beach? Like, I was just I was in confusion at that part, but
it is a very slow moving curse.
Yeah, right.
Slow. I don't know if it came up, and that's a very good point. I'm guessing it was either once fans trying to get pictures, or
that's funny.
Maybe someone's niece and nephew.
I don't know, but they looked like they were skipping or something.
Yeah, they were happy.
Yes, they were happy and playing.
See, I feel bad. I don't know how much I can contribute to this because I didn't even notice them.
Really? Because I saw them the first watch through right away. I was like, what's y'all doing back there? Curse cloud. Big, giant purple curse cloud. You should be used to this by now. Take cover.
Yeah. I was speaking of that beach, and I don't know if it comes up anywhere else in the notes, but like I was of two minds right before they broke through that brick wall. Mm-hmm. On one hand, because they had talked about how the ice wall had shaken things loose, and this was a new area, and Anna was on the other side and everything. Like I was of two minds. On one hand, I wanted them to find a portal that had been in Storybrooke the whole time, and then just have an easy way to walk back and forth between Storybrooke and Fairy Tale Land.
Yes.
On the other hand, I was like, okay, we will cancel the podcast if that happens.
I would my own because I love that.
Like I both wanted it with every bone in my body and didn't want it with every bone in my body. Like I don't know why. It just like I was so divided on that. Like Blair. What was? Because I almost called you Blake again. What would you have thought if that had happened?
You know, I didn't know what was behind there. I just kind of felt like, I was like, well, maybe it's just more cave. When they busted out into the beach, I was kind of like, so there wasn't any other way to get to the beach other than the broken wall? Like,
was that? See, I had a thought on that later. We're just going to this doc is just here for decoration.
Okay.
So my theory was, if Emma would have let her just knock it down the first time, where would it have taken them?
Hallelujah.
To the beach? Because that was where they were going to be because of time? The whole timey-wimey thing?
Oh, that could be, like, maybe like there was like a space to step through between universes for that second.
Yes. And if it would have been then, which was, I don't know, an hour earlier, because at this point no clue as to time, because the curse only moves this fast. Would we have been on Blackbeard's ship? If we were on Blackbeard's ship, how would that have been?
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Side note, Blackbeard's beard is lame.
Yes.
A bit.
For that being his name, kind of.
For him being Blackbeard and he had like Scruffle, I was like, come on, man.
Black peach fuzz.
Actually, yes, that was my next thing. Emma just let her knock down the wall.
Nice. Okay, well, we're going to take a little break here to talk about a couple things, and then we'll come back to the discussion. Now that we've solved the entire half season, thanks to Blair, or Blake, depending on what I want to call him right
Wait,
now.
wait, pause.
Yeah,
Bob.
pick either. It works.
Chasers, like storm chasers.
Nice. Okay, but we were up to some stuff on the 2-week break we had for Once Upon a Time. I wanted to share this stuff with you guys because just in case you missed it, just in case you only listened to the podcast, first of all, Anne Marie took it upon herself to not only come up with a recipe for the classic hot cocoa with cinnamon that all oncers know and love, but also to make it herself and take some pictures. And
Did a little blog post.
do a
Got
little
your little
blog
recipe.
post up on Greetings from Storybrooke.
I did.
So if you guys want to check that out, it's here. It's fun. I took the pictures.
Not all of them. No, most of them you didn't. Thank you very much.
No, I did. Most of them.
Lies. You were not in my iPhone.
Psst, vanilla.
Shh, don't judge my cheap vanilla.
But no, go to I just zoomed in on no, but go to greetingsfromstorybrooke.com for that. And also, as promised, thanks to the we did the Greetings from Storybrooke shirts.
Yep.
Thank you to everybody who ordered one.
Seriously,
And
thank you.
we promised if we made the order, if we got sold enough to make the order, that we would do 2 drinking game commentary episodes. Well, we didn't do the drinking game because we thought it would be too complicated, but we did the first commentary episode for Tallahassee. And that's episode 101 of Greetings from Storybrooke. And also, I would recommend doing the video commentary along with it.
If you can.
Because it's hilarious. And I heard from someone today, I forget who, I heard from someone today who watched the video commentary and absolutely loved it. So it only has like 16 views or something. If you have an hour carved out and you're going to be sitting down to watch the episode with the commentary anyway, watch the video.
I'm almost embarrassed because there was a lot of magic juice that night.
And
it was late.
What was it? It was I was drinking wine.
And I was drinking beer, but I think it just was hitting me.
Yeah, and it was late. It was after we had done our Gotham podcast. And one more thing before we get back to the main discussion. We've been trying to get people to go out there and do some rhyming episodes or rhyming episode reviews for us.
I read.
On iTunes. iTunes, Stitcher Radio, stuff like that. We always like to do this. Just go to iTunes or Stitcher, find Greetings from Storybrooke, leave a review in rhyme, and we'll read it on the show. It doesn't have to be in rhyme. We'll still read it.
But it's so much more fun if it's in rhyme.
And we got one this week from Elizabeth Chambers, it looks like.
100 episodes. Let me try it again. 100 episodes, magic juice time, and also a chance to review using rhyme. A longtime listener invites you to come and join in the passion, the friendship, and fun. Their theories engage me, their comments amuse, and I'm kept up to date with all the do news. A true fandom podcast, no spoilers in sight. The show, just like Goldilocks, does it just right. All Once Upon a Time fans should come take a look at the best Oncer podcast. Greetings from Storybrooke.
The best.
Amen.
The best.
Amen.
Yay!
We're the best forever. But no.
Us.
News. Us. No, but we would love if you could go to iTunes and take, obviously take a long time and come up with a great rhyming review.
That was
like
fantastic.
this one. Or just a short one. Make it crappy. That's fine. And we'll read it on the show. Okay, well, now we should probably go ahead and get back to the discussion of False Capenia. Okay.
False Capenia.
False Capenia. And one of the big things, we've already touched on it, the slow-moving curse cloud.
Curse cloud.
A common motif in Once Upon a Time, and one that actually Jennifer Morrison, in an article for Entertainment Weekly this week, defended.
And she had to immediately after the show.
Yeah,
aired.
pretty much. And but basically as a metaphor for all the troubles that beset all of us in life, which I can see. I can definitely see. But it's so similar to the finales of Season 1, Season 3A, and Season 3B with the slow-moving curse cloud that I didn't feel like there was a big threat of, it's supposed to be, it's rolling in, it'll be here by sunset, it's a ticking clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that our characters have to work against. But I didn't feel that threat, especially once they introduced another ticking clock, which was the fairies vaccine for Anna. And it just, on the one hand, it hit the same note again that all those other finales did. On the other hand, the dramatic tension of it was completely sucked out of the room.
There wasn't any.
Yeah, because the fairies were working on the vaccine stuff, and it was like, I don't know, it would have been more impactful if this episode had just started with the curse cloud and then everybody in the curse, like basically this, if this week's episode was next week's episode, it would have been great, and I would have preferred, honestly, if none of the loved ones had gotten to safety or got locked up or separated.
If they wouldn't have had that opportunity.
Yeah.
They had too much time.
Mm-hmm.
They took
like
their time.
big arena battle in Storybrooke.
I think
Everybody versus everybody.
it's coming.
It is, but there's going to be, it's going to be slow because everybody's kind of sequestered themselves.
Right.
And I would have preferred just Curse Cloud roll in, everybody throw down. But what did you think, Blair, of the Curse Cloud overall? Did you think it was too similar, or just enough similar?
Well, like I said, short-term memory, so I really only remember like one Curse Cloud. So you're naming 3, I can't remember those. Anyways, but
that because of
to me,
the Curse Cloud that made the Curse Cloud.
Yeah.
Look at the Curse Cloud.
It's the ticking time bomb trope. It's the James Bond, like we got to defuse the bomb before it blows up kind of thing. I kind of have the opposite feeling when they all started like that at that end, and it was like that montage of Regina taking Henry and locking him up, and then Gold taking Belle and locking her up, and then the Charmings being split into cells. Like I'm like, oh crap, it's coming. But that was the only time that I felt like the curse was actually there. So what they could have done for me is if there would have been some kind of like hint at the beginning of the episode that she was going to let off this curse, right? So instead of last episode letting off the curse, this time, she's hinting about letting off the curse. Let them run around and try to like fix it, right? Let the fairies try to do their thing, and then she just kind of automatically boom. Because I don't know what it is about these big spells, but I think there's a rule that they have to start 20 miles east and then float in for at least 3 hours or whatever it is. I hate that. But like I said, the end of the episode for me was when I really started feeling like, okay, this curse means something. Like I don't know. I started getting emotional, but.
Well, like I'm definitely excited about the potential of the curse and the episode we're going to get out of the curse. I just wish they hadn't delayed it.
It took too long.
Yeah, they stretch it. Like this episode felt like stretching it out.
Yeah, it was like, we need to get one more episode with these characters. How can we do that? Mm-hmm. And that's what some of these little scenes, part of the 60%, were. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, enough with the schmoopy whoopies. Let's just move on. Yeah.
And speaking of that montage at the end there, which actually
you hate montages.
Well, no, I love montages. I do.
Okay.
But that would have been a really good like pre-credits tease, like a cold open. But one thing that I thought was kind of weird about that is Regina went and locked herself up in the room that has all of her magical spells and talismans and everything.
Yeah.
That can't end well. She's not going to be in there long, I don't think.
No, that was okay. Well, again, this.
Oh, was that one of your points?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just going to jump to it. Protection spells over Henry, Belle, and Regina. These are only protecting them from other people. What is going to protect them from themselves and leaving? And obviously, Regina is going to be able to tear down her own protection spells.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
She protected herself in. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work.
Not to mention the fact that I'm pretty sure that Rumple locked Belle in the shop with the fake, or what she thinks is the real dagger, but it's actually.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing of like, why are you gonna lock her in? Apparently that dagger's supposed to be in there. So what happens when she picks up the dagger and you don't come?
Yeah. Especially considering it's going to be the version of Belle that she saw in the mirror. The one that was already trying to tell her that he couldn't be trusted and everything. Mm-hmm. That's not going to end well, Rumple. That's not going to end well.
She's not going to want to go to a foreign land with you. Also, okay, going with that, because again, this doc means nothing tonight. So, Rumple, and I think this was one of your points later, again, we're jumping. How is Rumple immune to this curse? Why does he think he's immune to this curse?
Mm-hmm.
Henry and Belle aren't, so they're going to want to tear each other and him apart. How is he going to get them out?
That's true.
They don't like him.
Well, I'd imagine that part of the deal of him getting out would be like the Snow Queen magically sweeping him past the ice wall or something like that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I don't know. I know for sure it seemed like he has very specific things he needs to do before that happens, because he told Hook that by morning it should all be done. So
yeah.
Wait, what were you? Something in the chat?
I wonder if people outside of Storybrooke saw the curse and said, "Is that cloud glittering?"
Well, I had the same question because, I mean, as far as I knew, and as far as the characters knew, right? As far as Emma and them knew, the only people that were immune to the curse, according to them, were the Snow Queen, Emma, Elsa, and Anna, because Anna's already been affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
But how does Gold automatically get this, like, get out of jail free card?
Exactly. I mean, I'm sure that was part of the deal that I can't keep track of their deals.
That's what I was assuming, was that it was, like, implied in the deal. Like, I'm going to let you have the world, which means I'm probably going to let you, you know.
Yeah, but I don't think she would. I think with these people, you have to lay it all out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you pretty much have to go if A, then B, and C.
Oh, it can kind of like that old stereotype of the genie where they're trying to find a way to trick you into doing something bad to yourself with your wish. I can see that.
Well, and the only other thing I can think is when he's talking about how he's going to go around the whole time trying to tear her heart out, almost as if that's the threat that's like, if you leave me here, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you. Like, so you need to get me out of here. So, I don't know. If she didn't get him out before the curse happened.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Who was next? Was it you?
I have no idea. No, we already covered my point.
Emma, bring down this wall. We already brought that down?
We already did about that.
We already brought down the wall.
We brought down the wall.
In fall!
Oh.
Okay, right, Bryce, Rankin, Blair. Blair, there.
Nailed it.
I got it. F. You wanted to talk about F.
Okay, so F, it kind of piggybacks off of Emma knocking down the wall. The story, like the timing in Once Upon a Time, sometimes it's like, I think you wrote it down somewhere else about the coincidences, but like, okay, so they have that big meeting with the Evil Queen and the Charmings and Hood, and they say, you're going to have to go tell her that she needs to give you that necklace. So she goes, she slips the necklace, they take it, they start heading over to Granny's. She goes down, right, and walks to the wall. In the meantime, they walk over to Granny's, figure out that there's pebbles in the bag, and tell them, well, now we have no time. There's going to be no time that we can do this. So Emma runs back. She's coming down the elevator at the same time, and Elsa still hasn't blown down the wall yet. Like, to me, I'm looking at that, and I'm like, so they don't have time. So it just doesn't make sense. So anyways, they blow down the wall. Once they blow down the wall, they're outside. She makes the wish, right? They keep talking. Or once they figure out that she's, quote unquote, that Anna didn't quite make it, instead of Emma not turning around and taking her straight back to the fairies to get that thing working, she kind of lets her sit there and be human, which is good. I get that, but at the same time, let's save the lives of everyone now that we've lost Anna. Said she waits around, she makes the wish, Anna comes, then Emma lets them have like this like 30-second, 40-second like embrace and love time, and then they finally go back, and when they finally go back, by the time they get back, the fairies are gone. And we know it was just seconds after because Hook's sitting down there chilling behind the thing. Go for it.
Things I thought of. So we saw Blue in her brief appearance putting things together, and for what we can tell, it didn't spill over. So I think that their Hook is going to save that, I don't know, sorbet glass full of magic juice, but not our magic juice, and they're gonna somehow it's gonna work. I feel like we're not done with the magic-y Granny's special of the week.
Yeah. But it definitely the timing.
Again, that was the 60% drag out.
I also thought it was a little weird that with the elevator. Previously, when we've seen that elevator, only Regina or Rumple could open it with like a spell, right? But then Elsa just walks right on. Because didn't it have a lock on it because of the curse and everything? Because that's where they kept all the secret stuff.
Again, that's because of the curse. The curses are broken.
I suppose so. Just maybe I've never seen someone go in there unaided by Rumple or Regina before.
I think, okay, so more confusion. They're in the caves or the tunnels, whatever. But why did they have to go down that when Grumpy, etc., was like, oh, yeah, me and the boys can take care of that, as if that was their usual digging place from whenever we had the little stone, the ting, the ver.
Well, maybe we're making
Are
the
they all
assumption.
connected?
Maybe we're making the assumption that the necklace led them to the library, down the elevator, and through the tunnels. When maybe it was just leading them over the tunnels,
right?
Or like over the area they needed to be, and they just and Emma just knew, hey, the library is how you get there. Real easy.
Can I make an oh, sorry, I was just going to pull something from Arian pointed out that Rumple looked into the mirror and was immune to its effects when it was getting Belle, so that's how he knows he...
Well, he is the Dark One.
He is the Dark One, yes.
He does have some Dark One powers.
Belle in the shop with the dagger? Sounds like a Storybrooke clue.
But going back to, that first scene with Rumple and Snow Queenie, Snow Queen says to Rumple, and I think this line kind of like personifies like my problems with this episode to a large degree. Didn't we make this deal already? Is what she says to Rumple.
Yes. Which
just completely like stinks of kind of like retconning or like adding a story point after the point or after you've set it in stone. It was basically a retcon right up there at the top. And I'm sorry to make this complaint again, but the writing could be so much better. 50% of the dialogue is characters catching other characters up on what's gone on, retelling previous plot or retconning previous scenes, like in this example. To refocus the story or like add Henry to the list of people escaping Storybrooke. And it's just, yes, sometimes that happens. This is production. Maybe the writers figured out after they'd filmed 4 or 5 episodes that they wanted Henry there for some reason or something. But it feels like there should be a smarter way to do it. Even like on the day, even on the set. Like if I was an actor on the set and someone handed me a line like, didn't we already make this deal to kind of justify a change
to opening the episode?
Yeah, I would be like, couldn't we even just change the line a little bit to make it seem better? Like, oh, you want even more now because you're so selfish. It's simple to be just a little bit like a hair smarter. And, I have heard some people say that, that's network TV. You have to be really obvious. You have to beat people over the head with it or they won't get it.
I think they're beating people way too much over the head.
Yeah, once hasn't had this problem nearly this bad in previous seasons. Like, this is a season for a problem. And it's a little disheartening overall. But
the struggle is real.
It's possible, too, that I could be reading into it a little more than is actually there just because, I don't know, maybe I'm not as tied in emotionally to the characters or maybe the actors' performances in previous seasons were stronger, so I didn't notice it as much. But
that could have been.
It's just a little niggling problem I've been having this whole season. Blair, what do you think?
Well, see, I'm that person that needs to be beat over the head 50 times to remind me. So those things are, at least for me, they're really good because like I said, sometimes there's so much, and this is the problem that me and my wife had at the very beginning of Once Upon a Time when it first started. They introduce so many characters that you get involved with so many different things. And if your focus is more, if you like more of the story of Hook and Emma, or you like more of the story of Anna and Elsa, sometimes I tend to zone out on other things. So, like, you guys are super big on to Belle. You guys really like Belle. Whereas me, I don't notice Belle as much, And so when she doesn't show up in an episode, it doesn't spark my memory or anything. So these like little reminders every once in a while are good because sometimes I just totally forget.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, it's not their existence that bothers me so much as they could be just a touch cleverer.
Just
right.
The way they're going about it is not so effective.
Are you saying so? Pretty much, the Ice Queen should have said, "On last week's episode, you told me that."
Yes, there's a graphic.
Hey, do you remember in the second half of the 2 hours 2 weeks ago on ABC at 8 p.m.?
That's right.
Okay, let's see. Blair here. You want to talk a little bit about the Charmings, Evil Queen, all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay, so this whole season, I've kind of felt like, and maybe you guys said it earlier too, that the characters are kind of lacking. And it wasn't until the Evil Queen said, basically, you guys are leaders. You guys need to step up and be leaders. That I'm like, that's it. This whole season has been such a drag from the Charmings, from like the leaders that you're so used to seeing. I mean, the Charmings walking through Neverland and just taking charge the whole time, and Emma just always kind of being so confident. That seeing Emma in this season where she doesn't know her magic powers, and seeing the Charmings where Snow is got a new baby and she kind of knows what she's doing but she kind of doesn't. It's such a weird feeling to me because you've seen them so bold before. In this season, I just don't feel like they're that. I don't know.
Agreed.
Well, see, this season I've definitely noticed that Snow feels like she's becoming more and more like Regina. And when we were watching this episode, whose heart got split in half? Snow's? Yeah, so I'm thinking part of that might be, well, I mean, obviously she's been shoved into this leadership position.
Right.
But like she's behaving more and more like, even Regina was noticing it this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if they're finally going to play around with that, the idea of that dark spot she has on her heart from killing Cora.
Right.
Or making Regina kill Cora. Growing, like,
I'm sure they will, and who knows, that spot really could have grown to both of them.
Very true.
They could. We don't know where the heart split.
Yeah,
I don't think we might. Who knows? There's probably a graphic somewhere.
I would imagine that that's something they might play with next week too.
They'd have to. Which, I mean, it was weird to see them just like.
Oh yeah,
the visions of hate. I was like, oh, so sad.
That was part of the 40% I loved. That last.
Oh, it was
shot.
Amazing. It was absolutely amazing, but it made me so sad.
The look on Snow's face.
There was something I wanted to say with. Okay, when she was like, these are things that the mayor would have taken care of. I do have to say I loved Snow's response. Yes, that's easy. When the mayor is also the only villain the town has to worry about, and she's only worried about herself, as opposed to Mary Margaret, who's had to deal with multiple villains and none of them being herself. Well, kind of, but not really.
And a crazy power outage. Who knows how to fix that?
Who knows how to fix that? Who knows? So that I just would like to say.
Fair enough. Okay, let's see here. I'm sorry to be such a negative Nelly.
You are a negative Nancy today.
Well, like generally when I'm going through like my 3 to 6 pages of notes here on the episode to put my notes in, I generally try to focus on stuff that I'm really super duper excited about. Mm-hmm. But I figured you guys could handle that this week. No, but
have we done that?
But it was just I saw such vitriol like in the once fandom after last night's episode about the episode that I felt like I had to at least speak up for the people who disliked it and at least point out the things I hated about the episode that excited me in the opposite direction or something. I don't even know
how to understand that statement.
You shouldn't.
Good.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Good. Ball!
Okay. No, but wow. I really hated. There were a lot of coincidences in this episode, and they were all coincidences that benefited the characters, which feels like really weak storytelling to me. Like, mostly the Frozen stuff, honestly, the Frozen storylines. Now, the worst one, in my opinion, was them throwing them overboard right where the shipwreck had happened for several reasons. And this is the only one I'll point out, like the only one, but there's so many supporting reasons why this is a stupid coincidence. How did they know where the shipwreck? They didn't, especially considering they mentioned in this episode no bodies were recovered. Yeah. How did they know where the shipwreck? Also, they were on their way to Misthaven. It seems like it should have taken hours or even days to get to where the ship wrecked.
Right.
Because, they had to have been sailing for a while without seeing a storm if it caught them unawares and caused them to
die. Right.
And then Blackbeard happens to save them by putting them in the trunk to ensure that they'll die. Like, they probably would have died if he hadn't put them in the trunk.
They absolutely would have died if he hadn't put them in the trunk.
Mermaid or no, or unless,
Ariel happened to be taking a jaunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, is what would have happened.
But, it just happened to save them, which was very coincidental. And also that the trunk landed right next to the bottle, and the bottle, which obviously will have a very plot-important message or theme-important message, just happened to get sucked along with them in the wish. Also, I was really hoping when Elsa wished for Anna to come back that, what's his face? Her boyfriend.
Kristoff?
Kristoff. Yeah, that Kristoff would have been left behind.
Blasphemy.
No, dream scenario, here's what would have happened. Elsa makes the wish, Anna gets sucked through, gets sucked into Storybrooke. Kristoff is left there. We don't see him again the entire episode. Season finale, we find out that like Ariel saved him or something. But we think he died for like 2 episodes.
They don't need any more of that.
And they probably would have never done that because of the whole Frozen thing.
But I'm with you with the coincidences. Like, even when they go to the ice wall to climb over the ice wall, and boom, we hit the ice ball, and there's a crack. Oh, and it cracks specifically right around the necklace. There's the necklace.
Yes, that was a little.
Oh yeah,
excessive.
if we get to random shouty of notes thing, I have a ton of coincidences.
I have one of those. That's what my last point was, I think.
There were billions of
There were tons. Actually, that's my next thing. So, random thoughts. Feel free to jump in.
Okay.
Hold on, I like Blair's last point. I hadn't
Me too.
noticed it until now.
We'll save it. We'll save it.
Save it. Okay, random thoughts. 30 years frozen. How did Hans and company know that they'd been frozen for 30 years and nobody else really seemed to because everyone in Arendelle acted like nothing had happened?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Well,
because they had to have known before they got to Blackbeard. Otherwise, how would they have made the connection with the dude to get to the Blackbeard and to control the army? I need timelines.
Well, obviously they had been running around for a few minutes longer than Anna and Kristoff when they fired.
Few, but it couldn't have been.
Yeah, and I mean there was a matter of days, I guess, in between them leaving the castle and them showing up at Blackbeard's too. So I mean that could have, and they were traveling through a land that they might have seen a year listed somewhere that clued them in, a newspaper.
Okay.
Or whatever.
But how would everybody else know? Everyone, all of Arendelle was frozen. Mm-hmm. The only people who would know would be Blackbeard.
Well, I'm saying they would have, because that was mentioned by Hans, right?
It was mentioned by Hans.
And they had to travel from Arendelle to wherever Blackbeard was.
He was at the docks in Arendelle.
Was he?
It was in Arendelle.
Are you sure? Because I thought there was like a matter of days or something in between.
No.
Okay, I could be wrong.
Yes.
But random points.
Random thoughts. Okay, where did Elsa get the fancy little blue bag that she held the necklace in? I'm like, hello, you're new. Gold straw. Isn't Rumple usually better about covering his tracks with stuff like that? That felt a little crazy to me.
Also, another coincidence that benefited the characters.
Yeah, exactly. Why does Rumple think that the fairies will be enough to fill the hat? Because he hasn't really put that many people in there.
I think he just wanted to take down the fairies person.
So do I. I just didn't like that. I'm marrying you before I die. Precious.
I like that Kristoff was like, as soon as she's like, I'm going to marry you, he's like, no, we're not doing this right now. Like, we're going to get out of this, then we can get married, but not right now.
Welcome back, Snowflake Necklace, or should I say Wishing Star that we never heard of. Charming's reunion with Anna and Kristoff was precious. Oh, you cut your hair. So did you. Oh, you cut your hair. Joan, what? Huh? Taking more time than we need. How long does the hat actually stay active once it's turned on? And what does it take to turn it off?
It appears that once it's been used.
But then it should have turned off after the first fairy.
Maybe it like so much magic in the real world and in the Storybrooke world.
Magic.
But no, it probably comes down to intention, I'd assume. Like, Hook had to, okay, I'm done with that thought. Maybe the hat collapses back in or something. I don't know. Okay, Brouhaha. I mean Blair. You had one last point here that you wanted to.
Well, I'll do this one, and then I got another one from Hope. But I really like your sweater vest. That's a nice looking little add-on you got going on there. But Hope said this twice now in the chat room. She goes, "Are you guys going to bring up the fact that Anna and Elsa were brought together from wishing really, really hard? When did the show come from the characters relying on themselves to save themselves from magical items of the week saving them?" I think that's a super good point. I feel like every episode that's like, oh man, we're not gonna make it, and then poof, there's a magical item that gets them out of there. Like, and Bobby says it too. He says that sometimes maybe the author is making all the coincidences happen. But yeah, it always feels like there's just always a way out. Like sometimes I think I'm with you, Bill. Like, yeah, if they're gonna do that, if they're gonna make a magical way out, like leave Kristoff there, or like make a sacrifice for it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, they were probably like they thought it would be a cool idea, and they thought Frozen worked really well with the themes and everything. But once it got into the reality of putting Frozen to Once Upon a Time, I'd assume probably from Up on High they had to hew closer to the cartoon versions of the characters than they would have liked, maybe. And maybe that's where a lot of it's coming from. Like, they can't they can't leave Kristoff in the trunk. They can't damage them too much because there's a sequel coming out in a couple of years. Anne-Marie?
Bobby Hawk. When you wish upon a star, I'm gonna stop singing, but you know the line. But it's as long as you're pure of heart, and Anna and Elsa are pretty much as pure as you can get.
Yeah.
So.
Although her happening to wish just as a phrase seemed a little off there.
Whatever.
Okay. Since we've been talking about this anyway.
Wow, we've been talking a lot tonight.
Fall. Okay, we'll start with you, Blair.
Yes, we sucked him in.
Out of 2 wishing stars, how many wishing stars would you give this episode?
2? Seriously, William.
You can get into decimals or fractions. It's okay.
Oof. All right, out of 2 wishing stars, 1.25. I think I liked it, but like I said, this is like the only episode where I've just been sitting there watching it and just been like, yeah, but if you guys just would have hurried, you would have made it back to the fairies, and you could have seen Hook sucking them into a hat, and like it was just one of those things where the episode kind of fell apart for me. But I loved the points. I loved the main points of it. I loved the wish. I loved that they finally got that reunion. I loved watching them at the end where they finally, they decided that, okay, we're gonna have to lock ourselves up, and then that freaking part where there's Emma and Hook, and he's giving her that like goodbye kiss, and you're just like, no, dude, you're gonna die. Like, I know you're gonna die. Like, don't die. So.
And then you can see it in her eyes that she can tell something's just off. Or something.
Well, he's been since he lost his heart.
Yeah, there's been a couple looks like that for Emma. Okay, Anne-Marie, 2 wishing stars. What do you give it?
1.
Why?
Because, well, just like you said, the 40% that was awesome. The 60% that wasn't was.
Mm-hmm.
So that balances out to a 50%.
Fair enough. How
about you, William?
I'm going to give it a 0.87. And same reasons as you, because you stole my reasons.
Was that what you were going to do?
Well, no, that's what I said up top. But it was necessary. It was an episode that had to be there. I think it could have been done much better than it was.
I'm scared to see the stars in the chat room. I'm just going to say that.
I also think that, I think there's a version of this episode that would have blown my mind completely, and I would have loved from front to back. And sadly, it just wasn't the episode they put out. But it all set up next week, which I think might be one of those episodes that just completely blows my mind. So I am very excited to see next week's episode of Once Upon a Time.
Mm-hmm.
Little down on this week's episode. Okay, and let's see here. Actually, Blair, we'll probably go ahead and let you go here so we can get on to letters and the news and all that kind of stuff.
The board.
But where can people find you online? What do you do online? Where can people find you?
Right now I'm just starting off. I'm just getting into this whole online thing. I know it's been around for a while, but I decided to venture into it. But you can find me on Twitter at BlairCan. I do a end segment on one of Scott Johnson's shows, The Boop Show. So if you want to listen to the whole show and then wait till the end, I'm on there. I do an app review for him. But other than that, I just like talking with people on Twitter, so you can hit me up there. But I wanted to thank you guys for having me on. You guys are so awesome, and this is such a pleasure, and I love your show, so keep doing awesome things.
Dude, seriously, your contribution
has been amazing.
The Anna and the hat thing, like maybe one of the best like things any guest has ever said ever. Like I mean, we've had a lot of great guests, a lot of people who love the show, who are very insightful about the show. But
many of whom are in the chat room. Y'all rock.
Yeah, we love you.
Love you.
But no, you completely blew my mind with that, though. Great job, man. And we'll have to have you back on again sometime. It was a blast.
Well, thank you. You guys have a good one. Finish the show great.
Wait, before you get rid of him.
Yeah.
Can we mention real quick? Hey, we're thinking of starting a third podcast.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody out there has ideas for that, can you shoot them our way?
Yeah, we're trying.
He probably had a proper thing for this, but I just wanted to think about it.
Yeah, no, it's good because some people tune out after the main discussion. Yeah, we are thinking about starting up a third podcast that's not completely centered around a television show because we hate not talking to you guys on weeks that you don't like the main show.
Right.
You know, like we definitely feel a loss of interaction when the episodes aren't as well received, and We know people have fallen off from listening to us because they've fallen off of once, and
there's also these things called summer and winter breaks where we go for like 3 months without talking to people.
So we're trying to find some sort of niche topic that you guys would dig, that wouldn't be so general that it would be boring for us, that we can throw the bones we've built with Greetings and Legends of Gotham and throw it onto something that we can do all year round, more or less. So any ideas, shoot them over, greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com. Okay, before we get to the news, we do want to talk a little bit about my book.
Your book?
Dog Boy. If you don't know, I write a series of superhero adventures called Dog Boy Adventures. Hold on.
Finding the book.
I have one right here.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, the first one, Den of Thieves. But I came out with, I'm coming out with book 4 right now. I'm releasing it in 3 episodes. Dog Boy, Eye of the Scarab. And episode 1 is out now. Episode 2 comes out next week. I believe it's already up for pre-order. But Emery, why don't you tell them a little bit about episode 1?
Colta City is a timeless old town, but time is catching up to it. Old friends and old enemies close in around Bronson Black, and an impossible choice hangs over him. As the modern world bleeds through, Dog Boy considers the past. His decision could spell the end of his crime-fighting career. But maybe that's a good thing.
Very dramatic reading.
Isn't it dramatic?
Yes.
I'm trying things.
And also, on this podcast, the last, I think, 10 or 15 minutes or so, I turned on my webcam last week and read the first chapter of the first episode. And so I'm just going to throw that audio on the end of the podcast as a bonus. But if you like what you hear, or you like the description, or you want to support us, go to bit.ly/Eye of the Scarab, and you'll be able to pick up the first episode and pre-order the second one. And now, on to the news. News. Okay, so
news.
Ratings.
Yeah.
Ratings up first.
Oh, wow.
By the way, links to all of these articles will be in the show notes at greetingsfromstorybrooke.com. But as it stands now, pending Nielsen's release of restated, aka corrected, week 2 demo numbers. Once Upon a Time, it got 7.7 million, 2.6 share, down 16% and 21%. And also, I guess there was a bit of a hubbub a few weeks back because I guess the Nielsen count was off for several weeks, like for the fall season. And I guess once has gotten adjusted down a little bit. From all the previous weeks too, but you know, it's across the board, so it's not that big of a deal. Relatively, they're still doing pretty much just as well, but they are down a little bit this week.
16% isn't just as well. I just want to say,
yeah, they are down a little bit this week, but some of that can probably be explained by
after a week off.
Yeah, after having the week off, some people take a week to get back into it. We've seen that before when there's been breaks and stuff.
Pretty much.
Okay, next up, we're going to. Oh, I never show that.
What?
I never will.
What'd you do?
I know the cover Eye of the Scarab that Tom Gerke did for me. There it is, if you're
Gerke,
watching the video. But as usual, we will what's next week's episode called? Shatterglass or Shattered Sight?
Which would make sense.
No, but we can't play it on the stream, but we're going to go ahead and narrate it.
We'll give you a commentary on it.
Okay, so
ready?
This freeze frame is already kind of
intense.
Here, I can show the freeze frame on video. It's a Snow and Charming facing off against each other.
She's got a sassy look on her face.
She does look pretty sassy, but let's go ahead and watch this.
I love sassy.
Next Sunday.
They push away. Evil Queen in her Evil Queen gear.
Looks like someone's pulling a Home Alone on Hook with marbles on the floor.
Which maybe I can only remember as Henry. She wants to watch her bleed.
Snow gets a sword, fighting in jail.
Snow is good with a sword. That's the Snow I've always wanted.
And Snow throws Regina through a glass door.
Yes,
on ABC.
Exactly.
No,
I like that.
It looks really good.
It looks awesome.
If you want to watch the promo, go to greetingsfromstorybrooke.com. Check out the show notes. Now, if you want to listen to the letters, I would recommend skipping ahead about 2 minutes into the podcast because the 2 things we're going to discuss right now.
Spoilers.
Super spoiler.
We're talking spoilers here, people.
If you're watching live, go ahead and just mute us for a couple minutes. I'll wave at the camera like this when we're done talking about the spoilery stuff.
He's just going to wave randomly now.
Okay, but giving you enough time. Okay, first off, we did get a first picture of Cruella de Vil. Cruella de Vil. No, but looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Like super duper good. What am I doing?
Wrong direction. Wrong direction.
There we go.
Bigger.
Now we're coming back.
Where's the puppies?
Yeah, but very Cruella de Vil looking with enough of a twist.
Yeah, it's enough literal, but it's enough modern.
Yeah, and this is one of the villainesses we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
And another one was cast over the break here, and that is an official Ursula. Now, alias vet Marin Dungy has been cast as Ursula in Once Upon a Time for the next half season. Now, if you guys don't remember, Yvette Nicole Brown from Community voiced Ursula in the original Little Mermaid episode, the real Ursula, the one that was in the statue and everything. But actually, the Ursula announcement is really what got me thinking, they're going to let all these people out of the hat. That and the fact that Cruella was standing out in the middle of the town square and stuff, it almost felt like that's when they all get released or something.
In the middle of the town.
Yeah.
Yep, at night, apparently.
At night.
At night.
No, but very cool. And here, I'll wave at the camera. You can come back if you want.
Back.
And one more thing I wanted to point out, there was a video release this week that's kind of a behind the scenes of the special effects of Once Upon a Time. Now, a lot of times we make fun of or poo-poo the effects.
Yes, we poo-poo them.
But it's really incredible how much they accomplish in such a short time. Like they go into it in detail in the video, but hundreds of shots every episode they have to do, by hand, animation, compositing stuff out and everything. So, we'll still poo-poo the effects because we poo-poo the effects. But, at least I have a slightly better respect for, what they do on a week-to-week basis. And it also has some cool stuff about how they use some of the official assets from the Frozen movie and stuff like that, too.
How many times can we say poo-poo?
No more.
Poo-poo!
Okay, now we're going to go ahead and get into the listener feedback here.
So much awesome listener feedback.
Definitely.
Yay.
As always, when you get done watching the episode on Sunday night, run to your computer, knock anybody you love out of the way, maybe kill them. Get to your computer,
kill people.
Email them.
Do not be the dark one.
Shattered site. Greetings from Storybrooke@gmail.com. Twitter @GSStorybrooke. The Facebook is facebook.com/greetingsfromstorybrooke. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And you know who we're going to bring in while we...
Who?
Rumple's coming with the urn.
Hello.
Hi,
I'll take that from you, sir.
Rumple's here.
I'll take that.
And here, Rumple.
Here, hear me.
First voicemail's from Bobby.
Of course it is. I'm really bad at this.
Take it away, Bobby.
Hey, Bill, it's Bobby. Okay, so this week we finally got to see the curse enacted. We got to see the reunion of Elsa and Anna, and then, of course, the return of some Storybrooke characters that we haven't seen in some time. So, all in all, that sounds like a great episode on paper, but unfortunately, it didn't turn out as such. It just seems like this, even though I like a lot of what they're doing with the Frozen characters on its own, when you try to gel it into the season and previous seasons, it just seems a bit forced. As far as the Storybrooke characters, I was really hoping for a bit more screen presence. All the brief amount of time they did get just made me long for episodes where they played a larger role, especially Grumpy and Blue. So I'll try to point out a few things I did like. I liked, of course, the reunion of Elsa and Anna, even though that did seem a bit forced. And I know I keep knocking the Disney references, but the two that I saw in this episode were actually... I found quite amusing. The one being when Anna told Hans, "Hey, I sang with you." I laughed out loud at that. And then, of course, when they mentioned swimming in gold and Anna said, "Ouch," I couldn't help but picture Scrooge McDuck in his money bin. So,
life is like a hurricane here in Storybrooke.
It was in Arendelle.
Dell.
Well, I think we have like another episode or two left of this half season. I'm hoping that when I sit down and watch them all together as a whole, that it seems, that it all comes together.
The half season as a whole.
A bit more, because watching it week to week just it doesn't seem to fit. But of course, can't wait to hear whatever all you guys thought.
Thank you very much, Bobby. And next up is a voicemail from, I think it was Kyle. It was a little hard to hear, but a first-time caller. So take it away, Kyle.
Hi, guys. This is Kyle Thompson. I just wanted to call and say you guys are really awesome. I listened to your guys' podcast on the way to school, and I gotta say you guys are the best podcasters, and I just love you guys. You guys make my day. If I'm sad, I just go over the readings of the storybook, and you guys brighten up my day with jokes and rhyming summaries and all that stuff. So I just want to take this moment to say thank you for everything you do. Bye.
Yay!
Thank you, Kyle. And we apologize for brightening your day. We'll try and make it darker and dimmer and drearier in the future. Okay, next up. Oh, no, but seriously, thank you, Kyle.
Thank
that
you
was
so
awesome.
much.
Like, actually, this morning, like, I was sick all weekend, and I was feeling all weird coming down here this morning to work and everything. And I was getting stuff together for the episode, and I played that voicemail, and I was like, you know, I feel pretty good today now.
I'm doing good things.
So thank you, Kyle, for brightening our day, too. Okay, and next up is Other Anne-Marie.
Hi, Bill and Marie. This is Other Anne-Marie calling for Greetings from Storybrooke. I cannot believe how amazing this episode was, and that I think there's 2 more episodes to come after this. I'm really happy that Adam and Eddie are setting it up in such a way that it feels like it's the end, but there's still more to come. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Just a lot of one-liners that I really liked, and one of the biggest things that I am really curious about right now is the hat. How is it all going to play out with all the fairies in there? And it must make Rumple really, really happy because he's been anti-fairy from the start. So can't wait to hear your thoughts about it. And out of 10 fallen shards, I'm giving it 9.5 because I really liked it. Bye.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Thank you.
And yeah, like I said, all of this feedback, it's either people thought it was the best episode ever or the worst episode ever. There is no in between.
Nope.
There is no wrong answer. Speaking of that contrast, here's a voicemail from Michael Sarah.
Hey, Bill and Marie, this is Michael Sarah. I have a feeling y'all really like this new episode, but I really did not. I've been really enjoying the season as a whole. This one, I don't know, this is where I get frustrated with the writing again. I kind of get like the development and helps with the beats and this is all we're at the time. But why would it deactivate it? Because they're grown up. Does it locate itself have the ability to just assume they're going to die? Also, Arendelle has a really naive populace, or a really beautiful one. Kind of see how it makes sense to accept the Hans as leader in the movie. They just reveal that Anna was supposedly going to marry him, and she was in the royal family. But then he was a traitor, and they seem to have forgotten that. It's not like they marched in and conquered the country with their armies, since there's just 5 guys and stuff on hand. They were not to overpower them in the palace.
Yeah, not to mention that Anna and Elsa felt like they had to hide from their guards that work for them, like a couple episodes ago or last episode or whatever.
Apparently our voicemails are echoing. No, everybody's having trouble understanding them.
Oh, really? That's a shame.
I'm sorry.
Sorry for the live listeners.
We'll fix it for the...
Yeah, sorry about the echo. We will fix it. I guess I'll just go ahead and finish playing this one, though.
And with it all, seriously, when are they going to be done with this whole predestination and storyline? Operation Mongoose, I am not enjoying this at all. I thought the whole point of Robin and her team finding an alternate page was that they could have made a different decision than that. Their fates weren't written by their hand, and they do actually have free will. But now they're still looking to the author of the book and saying, oh, you really will be happy if we can just find him. Really? Why? Do we learn nothing in this show? I just don't get off. I mean, if that's true, they don't have free will, and then why is this even interesting? How are they even able to search and interpret it? Anyway, I'm probably able to do that. Sorry about that. Hope y'all enjoyed it more than I did. Can't wait to hear the podcast. Take care. Bye.
Minute and 36, I trimmed it down a little bit for you, Michael. And yeah, sorry to anyone listening to the live stream who wasn't able to hear those voicemails. That must be very frustrating, but you know, it's still new.
We're trying.
This is episode, what,
10,
11 for Greetings that we've been doing it with. So we'll continue to get better. Sorry about that. Before we get into the quick bits and the letters and stuff, I just wanted to mention that we got, after our 100th episode a couple weeks ago, we got a ton more messages and voicemails and all sorts of stuff.
I may have cried a few times.
Yeah, but really heartfelt, great missives from people wishing us a happy 100th and talking about what the podcast has meant to them over the past couple years and everything. But a lot of them were implying that they waited
to not be read.
Yeah, because they didn't want to be read on the air or whatever. So we just wanted to say,
acknowledge it and say thank you.
Yeah,
we really, really do appreciate it.
Definitely. No naming names or anything, but thank you very much for all those.
I'm talking about you.
You.
And you and that guy over there.
But not him.
Nope, not him.
Thank you very much. Okay, and now we'll do some quick bits here. As always, you can go to greetingsfromstorybrooke.com and look at our blog post post for this episode. It'll say fall in the title.
Oh.
And you can read all the letters we're not going to have time to get to. Fall! All the letters we're not able to get to this week. But we have a couple things that we'd like to point out to you from them. First of all, Ember is a new listener who thinks about characters eating magic beans a lot, which I think would be a great diet plan because, the food just goes through.
Woo says, thanks for letting him be a part of the community. Of course, Woo. Hello.
Michael Sarah sent us a letter a few weeks back, but we missed it. We got you this week, Lucero.
You really enjoy the Sarah and the Lucero thing, don't you?
Well, I told him I was going to call him Michael Sarah on the podcast.
Way to be.
So.
Okay. Alina thinks Anna's reaction to Storybrooke was priceless. Wait until she sees the movie.
Sees
her movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, her movie.
Cool. But yeah, you can get those all in the letters post over at greetingsfromstorybrook.com. Amory, you want to go ahead and read this first one from Patty?
Sure. From Patty. Hi, Bill. Marie. Hey now.
Patty L.
Patty L, my name is Amory. I love your podcast and look forward to listening each week. You two are very thorough in going over the new episodes. Although I'm not sure if it has been noted, but I was thinking about the new page appeared and how the Knave of Hearts probably had a hand in it. As a knave, he could be messing with Robin and Regina's feelings/hearts. Do we know yet what their falling out was about? Maybe even Marion to cause big problems later. Just wondering your thought. Thanks, Patty.
Yeah, but basically saying maybe the knave is the one who planted that new page for his own machinations or something, which I thought was an interesting theory.
Interesting.
And it feels very knave. It feels something very knavish to do.
Something very knavish.
Yeah, but I'd assume we'll probably get a bigger revelation on that once we circle back around to Operation Mongoose, because apparently
it's coming back. But it's coming back because that was talked about.
It'll come back. Okay, next up is Jasmine. If you missed our 100th episode, Jasmine was the one who wrote the nice letter about the back of my head and asked me to do a Robin Hood face. But she says, thanks for the creepy Robin Hood face shout out. I laughed my off. Also, you said to email if we watched the video of your commentary of Tallahassee while watching the show. I did, and it is far more humorous that way. Keep doing more and keep the video. Like I said, watch the video commentary. Finally, my only thoughts on last night's episode. I hope the next time we get at least 10 minutes of Snow and Charming bickering like some old married couple through the jail cells. I want to hear her nag him for not cleaning up or having to be reminded to take out the trash. Then I want to hear him respond, she doesn't wear sexy dresses anymore. And by the way, I totally agree with Anne-Marie that they need to dress up Snow a little bit better.
Seriously.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Seriously.
For sure.
How is she going to fight in these frumpy frocks?
I think I read a comment earlier too saying they were hoping that Snow would get mad at Charming for thinking she was a murderer, and then Charming would get mad at Snow for being a murderer.
Yeah. Yes. All right. This one is from Vicky. What can I say except that tonight's episode was epic? I love that we found out the Arendelle storyline lined up time-wise with current-day Storybrooke, because that is something I had been trying to figure out for a while. Anna and Elsa's reunion was so sweet, and it was great to see them back together after Elsa chasing after her all season. One thing I liked about that is completely unrelated. I like to think they were like, that was adorable. One of the reasons this episode worked so well is because the danger felt real. We've seen what this spell can do to someone and understand this isn't just another curse for the town. The pain of everyone having to separate from their loved ones in order to try and keep them safe was heart-wrenching. I was literally on the edge of my seat for the last few minutes. Even though I hate that Hook is being used by Rumple, I feel that it's being well handled. His anguish over what he's forced to do feels real, but his feelings for Emma still manage to eke through in that he seeks her out before the spell hits town. Smash the Mirror was a fantastic episode, yet I feel like the creators managed to top it tonight. This season has felt a little hit or miss for me, but they have certainly hit their stride and are really ramping up things for the mid-season finale. The Snow Queen turned out to be a really great villain.
I thank you, Vicky. And
obviously, Vicky is on the I love this episode train.
Yeah, and
yay!
While we were pretty down on the episode overall, I definitely agree with you that I have loved how the Snow Queen has turned out. In fact, one of my big complaints of this episode is that we didn't get enough of her. But I'm sure that'll be fixed.
She just stood in her one spot a lot. Pretty much.
Okay, Rand tweeted us out right after the episode. I think I can't sleep knowing that all the fairies are now inside the hat.
It seriously was annoying. Okay, Ashley wrote in, "Hey Annabelle, man, this new curse cloud is shiny and possibly deadly. Not a good combo. Well, timelines are now synced up, and heart, Anna and Christopher, okay, yay! Loved their stuff and the fighting scenes. I was hoping they were, but oh man, the slow-mo dramatic shot inducing shattering sight curse cloud. Eep! I loved Emma trying to protect baby Neil and etc. Charmings and a little frozen fam, etc. Sad face. I hope Sven's okay.
Sven.
Wait, Sven's still in Arendelle. Oh no. Nasty Princess of the Southern Isles. Boo. And Hook, bad boy. Was like a horror suspense movie. Oh my gosh, Blue, not again. And I hope he didn't get Tink and Nova. I hope.
What is it? Is it I'm blue, if I was green, I would die. So reverse it. If I was blue, I would die. If I was green, question mark.
Okay, and then the video gets pulled down. Blue, not again. Darn you, Rumple, for regressing again. I do not like this. That bad, really, really bad. Hashtag the dark one is here. Getting original Snow Queen feels, and the next week's looks crazy awesome. Giving this one 6 handcuffs out of the drawer out of 10. Hugs and cheers, Ash.
Thank you, Ash.
Thank you, Ash.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, for reading Ash's emails. I always prefer you two because
I have the right energy for them.
You found her voice for sure.
I found Ash's voice.
Next one is from Elizabeth. And so we have 2 more episodes to go until the winter hiatus. Sadness. I think for the most part, this was a good filler episode. I like how Rumple wanted to save Henry, too. Like, for once, he was thinking about his grandson. Honestly, my favorite part of the episode was when Snow and David were holding hands, then their eyes did the shatter thing, whatever it was called. I have a thing with eyes.
Yeah.
And then the way they started to look at each other as their hands separated and pulled away. The looks on their faces, priceless. Things are about to get nasty.
Nasty.
I can't imagine the things Snow and Charming are going to say to each other, but I'm kind of looking forward to all the cat fights that are going to happen next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yet at the same time, once you say something, it can't be undone. So I'm wondering if anything said will place some damage on relationships. They can't just go, "Oh, well, we were cursed, so I didn't mean it," can they? Well, they did for the date with Dr. Whale.
Yeah.
We were under a curse.
We were cursed.
We were cursed. I give this episode 20 out of 25 vacuumed up fairies.
Oh, the poor fairies.
Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did, and I'm very thankful for the podcast. Until next week, bye. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
And you want to take this next one?
Yep, I can read this. Okay, this is from Ember, who we mentioned earlier. Okay, I'm assuming I start, after the bold.
Ember, I guess, is a fairly recent listener to the podcast, but sent us like 3 or 4 messages over the past couple of weeks. All great stuff, all up in the blog post. But I had already pulled out this section to put in the thing before we got her. Her message for this week's episode. So it's not relevant to this week's episode, but go to the blog post, the letters blog post for more on that.
Okay, still gonna read this. Okay. And about your podcast. Since there is no new episode to talk about, there are so many once podcasts, and no offense, but most of them suck. And yours awesome. I disagree with a lot of what you say. I mean, you wanted Hook to die. But I like that because I like seeing how you think of things and you point out things that I never would have noticed. Like the slippery when wet sign in the episode The Jolly Roger. I love how Anne-Marie calls Neil baby snowflake even after the naming ceremony. I give it 199.9 out of 200 of Rumple's flings. He had a lot, okay? About the whole Frozen thing. I thought that they should have sort of changed the storyline like they did with everything else. True that, because that's what made Once Upon a Time. But I understand why they did that. Just picture the angry mob of Frozen fans screaming bloody murder. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a little dramatic, but yeah. Also, I really like Anna. Ultimate Captain Swan shipper like ever, Ember.
Would you like a fling, dearie? Thank you, Ember.
Thank you,
very much.
Ember.
And we'll wrap up here with Chris Tipton, who sent us his top 5 points. He says, wow, what an episode. I was completely blown away. This was my favorite episode this season and probably top 10 overall. My top 5 moments, how I will do Facebook. I think that's more for me. Number 5, you want to give me a... Number 5, Belle is finally useful again. Also, a wild blue fairy appeared. Number 4, Hook and Rumple. Rumple is the most evil he has ever been. Any redemption he had is completely gone. What he is doing to Hook is deplorable. Belle seriously needs to find him out now. I wonder if Blue's really gone now. I thought she would get away, and she may have since we didn't see her get completely sucked up. Number 3, preparations for the spell. Regina's talking like a hero now. It was hilarious when Snow and Elsa's blind faith was... I can't say that word on the podcast then. Charming,
They said it in the show.
Yeah, I guess so. Screwing them. Charming and Krannis reunion.
Kristoff.
Oh, yeah.
Kristoff and Anna.
Kristoff and Anna.
We're going to need to work on that shit name.
Krannis.
No. Well, that's what it says, but no.
Number 2, the cliffhanger. Really well done. Snow's evil eyes, then black. And number 1, Kranna's story overall.
Yes.
Was Chris's favorite thing about the episode. And he gives the episode 5 of 5 golden blackbeards.
Woohoo.
Excellent. And as always, when you get done watching the episode next week on Sunday night, run through the hallways of your house, killing all of your loved ones. Then email us, greetingsfromstorybrooke@gmail.com. Tweet us at GFStorybrooke. Facebook is facebook.com/greetingsfromstorybrooke. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. Now, Emery, where can people find you online?
You can find me on the Twitters at DeSimone or under my blog Twitter at CCHCblog, crunchycrafty.com. There's a link in the hot chocolate post.
Excellent. And as for me, you can find me on Twitter at Bill Meeks, my Google Plus, where we do these every Wednesday.
So you probably
every Monday rather.
Yeah, wrong
at
show.
8:30 p.m. EST. Is google.com/plus Bill Meeks. And I mentioned it earlier, the Dogboy stuff, dogboyadventures.com. Yeah, and I guess
awesome.
Great episode, super long episode, which
really
is fine.
Long episode.
But great having Blair on. Thank you very much,
yes,
Blair.
Thank you, Blair.
And I think we're gonna the next couple episodes we're gonna wrap up old school, just me and you.
I think so.
Yeah, just me and you. Just because sometimes the lag can be a little weird and stuff, but
we've loved having guests this season. We really have.
Yeah, and I really think Blair's the way to go out for guests this half season, right? Because I mean, he just
called it.
He blew our minds.
He blew our minds.
Absolutely.
I may have a little surprise for next week. I've given myself a project. I can't tell you.
Interesting. I don't even know what this is. So
no, you don't. I thought of it while we were on the show.
I'm scared.
You should be.
Okay, so I guess wait for that surprise. And until next time,
greetings from Storybrooke.
What could it be? What is it? Is it a shattered mirror? Get Batman Elsa.
Bad Elsa.
Bad Elsa.
Bad Elsa.
Bad Elsa.
We have problems.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
So
Thank
much.
you so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Bye.
Bye.